So good afternoon, everybody. I'll try to be quick. I don't have many slides to present. And you'll notice that my talk will be a bit different from Joe, Karen's, and the previous talks. My name is Grazziela. I am an associate professor in health data science in the University of Nottingham. And today I'll be talking about research related to big data for dementia analysis. I think the commonalities that there will be between Karen's talk, Joe's, and the previous talk as well is that there is this importance of interdisciplinary work and the importance as well of having the right data to perform the analysis and having the data pre-processed in the correct manner. But I think one thing that Karen spoke that's very relevant to my talk is to have a contextual understanding of the data to be able to provide meaningful insights within a particular problem. So the objectives of this research that we conducted together with several colleagues within the medical school was to identify the relationships between dementia and cardiovascular diseases. And for that, we've used the UK Biobank's data set. There were a few constraints related to the data set that I'm going to explain to you further. This, to the best of our knowledge, was the largest study in the literature for the UK. We've used a statistical analysis and also machine learning to identify associations and correlations between CVD and dementia. And the most important aspect of this problem, in my view as a data scientist, was that we were able to create a toolkit that allowed us to have interpretation of the results that were more meaningful to the clinicians. So related to the data set, we started with around 500,000 participants that donated their data to the biobanks. We had 16,000 plus variables, and these variables were individual instances, but also longitudinal arrays related to continuous measures. And in total, we had 52 gigabytes of data to crunch through to be able to select the variables. And I think when we were selecting the most relevant variables to be able to produce our modeling and understand the correlations, we had to have several iterations with clinicians, with experts in the area. We had to review the literature because it looks like for dementia, there is no yet a firm consensus about which variables should be used when modeling, and also which models are the most commonly used. So this took us, give or take, around 4 to 6 months, just reviewing the literature and having conversations and trying to understand which variables around demographics, lifestyle, social data, and health clinical data were relevant for our modeling. So the analytics pipeline that we've developed first was data retrieval from the biobanks, cleaning, pre-processing. The data set was heavily imbalanced because we don't have as many patients with dementia in relation to the original cohort that involves several different diseases. We had to create different types of test controls, data sets to understand which one would be the best pairing modeling. We've applied logistic regression, which is a more traditional statistic modeling, and other machine learning methods like support vector machine, random forests. We then generated a feature importance interpretation of the results. And then we fed back to the machine learning just to try to understand from all the variables that we've selected, those that would be more relevant to understand associations between dementia and cardiovascular diseases. So the pipeline that we've implemented for this problem is a featuring important fusion framework where we have a first stage where we do data transformation, cleaning, noise reduction, normalization, and then we apply several machine learning methods with their respective interpretation mechanisms. So for those who are not very familiar with machine learning, this is an equivalent to a factor analysis in statistics, where you try to understand those variables that are more relevant for the decisions of the model. And then we try to create an ensemble, which could be an average or the mode of the importance of each feature for the problem. So as the result of the research that we've conducted, we were able to produce a robust data pipeline to process large-scale data sets on the order of many, many gigabytes. We generated an explainable artificial intelligence approach for comprehensive interpretation of the machine learning results. And as a final outcome that was for medical benefit was understanding some of the associations between dementia and cardiovascular disease. So the results that we've obtained for a first modeling exercise, we've got very good precision and recall score, and we could see that there was a high correlation between dementia patients and several CVD indicators and biomarkers. But one shortcoming of this modeling is that we included age, and the age obviously has a linear relationship with dementia, and therefore you're always going to get a good linear model for this when this variable is present. But there was a reason why we included this variable. It's because this is an ongoing work where we initially developed models based on the UK cohort from the biobanks. And we want to be able to test if this model is deployable to other populations. And we've started doing tests with populations from China, and we realized that the model breaks when we apply to their cohort. And the reason is because the detection of dementia in the UK occurs much earlier than the Chinese population, for example. So whereas we have detection age of dementia in the UK of individuals on their 50s. In China, they are on their 70s. So the model does not work well. And this is something that is very interesting to see, because now that we're talking about pulling different data sources together in federated manner from different cohorts, I think understanding this contextual variation by which the data is collected will have a massive impact on the outcomes of the modeling and the predictive models that we are creating. So we've repeated the analysis without the age. We observed a bit of a reduction in the precision and the recall, the first one should be precision here, but still you can see several indicators that CVD and dementia have a strong relationship regardless of the age. And this is a model that we are still to test with other cohorts and see if these models can be validated elsewhere. So in summary, what we've produced was a reliable dementia prediction model for CVD patients based on traditional statistical models, but also using machine learning. We were able to identify factors that are associated between CVD and dementia. And now we have this custom toolkit that allows us to explain the models developed using machine learning that is traditionally a black box, and they are suitable for big data. So in the future, what we want to do is just re-implement this framework under an Apache Spark framework, because once we reduce the data set, the 52 gigabytes, for the actual dementia positive patients, we don't have big data anymore. But if we want to be able to create models that are deployable to much larger data sets, we have to use big data technologies that will split the data and crunch the numbers in a timely manner. We also have implemented a feature important fusion framework using fuzzy sets. And what these fuzzy sets are they are an artificial intelligence approach that allows us to generate if-then-else rules that will explain the variable importance, but within context and the synergy between certain variables as well. And I think that will allow us to provide further insights into the interplay of CVD and variables related to dementia. And we also want to carry on evaluating how these models are generalizable to other cohorts. So just to show you what we want to do next, we want to adapt the previous framework that we have to a fuzzy framework that does not lose information, so it's able to capture more information, and then it will output more detailed contextual information about the interplay between those variables. This framework has been published in a computer science journal, but now we want to see how it actually, how beneficial it could be to healthcare data in terms of being informative and how it can be further validated by clinicians. So that's it from me. Thank you very much.